Excuse me? There's actually superheroes that have turned the tide and become supervillains? Welcome to Comic Basics. I'm Joel, and in today's episode, the 10 most famous superheroes to become supervillains. For as good as they are, superheroes aren't infallible. Some, due to circumstances beyond their control, lose control and turn to a life of evil. When this typically happens, the comic world is turned upside down. A few, as you'll see, have happened almost predictably. Others, however, have left fans all over the world crying themselves to sleep. After all, superheroes are supposed to be everything that's good in the world. They're supposed to be a symbol of hope when hope doesn't exist. Over the years, there have been more superheroes become supervillains than I can count. However, only a few are actually notable. That is, only a few are list-worthy. And that's what I'm here for. Tara, if known for nothing else, should be known for helping Deathstroke bring down the Teen Titans. In arguably the greatest Teen Titans story, the Judas Contract, Tara was placed inside the team by Deathstroke. As a member, she gained their trust, loyalty, and compassion, all the while relaying valuable information to Deathstroke. With the information, Deathstroke captured all the Titans, save for Dick Grayson. Dick, together with Jericho, managed to defeat Deathstroke, but the damage had been done. Granted, Daredevil has teetered on the edge of good and evil for most of his existence, so when I tell you that he once became a villain, it's probably pretty easy to believe. During the much maligned Shadowland story, Daredevil took control of the Hand. With the ninjas under his control, he tried to force good on the world around him. What he didn't foresee, however, was that he was slowly being taken control of by the Beast of the Hand. Under the control of the Beast of the Hand, Daredevil's tactics became increasingly violent and unpredictable. As an original member of the X-Men, Worthington III was always considered one of the more useless characters. Outside of his flight, which most heroes have, he really couldn't contribute to the team. So when he was captured by Apocalypse and tortured, nobody really cared. Oh, how we should have cared. At the conclusion of the torture, Angel was reborn Archangel, Apocalypse's harbinger of death. In place of his bird-like wings stood metal wings that could project deadly metallic feathers at his enemies. More than that, Angel was reborn with an insatiable thirst for violence and death. For a time, Sinestro was considered the best of all the Green Lanterns. He was the model by which Green Lanterns were molded. He kept peace, order, and law in his sector in a way that no other Lantern could. What nobody foresaw, however, was that he did so through fear, violence, and brutality. When outed from the Green Lantern, then beaten by Hal Jordan, Sinestro created his own Lantern Corps. The Yellow Lanterns, unlike the Green Lanterns, used fear as a mechanism of power. Through them, Sinestro rose to become one of the most feared Green Lantern enemies in existence. Some consider the Dark Phoenix saga one of the best X-Men stories of all time. Some, like myself, consider it average at best. No matter what you think, it's tough to argue that Jean Grey's transformation into the Dark Phoenix wasn't shocking. As the Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey possessed immeasurable power. With that sort of power, she could obliterate entire galaxies, and she did. The Jean Grey transformation was so impactful that it's still, to this day, one of the most talked about moments in comics. From the get-go, Jason Todd had a tough go in life. Not only was he an orphan, but he was also responsible for filling the shoes of the greatest Robin in history, Dick Grayson. Jason Todd's demise came during the much respected A Death in the Family story. The story saw Jason Todd reunite with his mother only to have her betray him and hand him over to the Joker. Once caught, the Joker beat him to within an inch of his life and blew up a building on top of him. After A Death in the Family, Todd is brought back to life by Ra's al Ghul in his Lazarus pit. His resurrection wasn't without consequence, however. The Lazarus Pit, along with bringing him back to life, caused Jason to become mentally unstable. Once back in Gotham, he took the mantle of the Red Hood and waged a personal war on all those who wronged him. Since his debut, Cyclops has been the consummate do-gooder. He's done whatever's been asked of him, and done so rarely questioning who's asking. He was the leader of the X-Men and the prized pupil of Charles Xavier. Thankfully, this didn't last and he began walking the path of extremism. Cyclops started to see mutants as the superior race. As such, he formed a Black Ops squad of mutants designed to carry out deeds that the regular X-Men couldn't. Worst yet, he ousted his mentor Xavier from the X-Men and merged with the Phoenix Force. Once merged, he murdered Xavier. Due to the widespread success of the MCU, the story of Bucky Barnes is very well known. Bucky grew up and fought alongside Captain America during World War II. At its conclusion, he boarded a plane, and that plane exploded, sending him into the icy waters below. While most thought the once hero was dead, he was found and programmed to become the perfect Soviet assassin. As their assassin, the Winter Soldier, he spent the better part of half a century killing when called upon. The Watchmen followed a group of retired heroes as they tried to cope with the fact that they weren't needed anymore. If this sounds boring, understand that it quickly becomes interesting when one of their own, the comedian, is mercilessly killed. By the story's end, Ozymandias, who had long been considered the greatest hero in existence, had revealed himself to be the mastermind of everything bad happening on the city, including dropping a squid on it. And why? Why would he drop a squid on it? He claimed that by forcing warring nations to come together for the greater good, he could stop war. This, of course, is stupid, as it would kill many in the process. There are very few character turns as shocking as Hal Jordan's. At the conclusion of Emerald Twilight, Hal Jordan's mind is drawn into a place that it should never have gone to. The event saw his city, Coast City, decimated and all that he knew with it. Unable to handle the grief, Hal set out with his power ring to recreate the entire city and all those who died. Requiring more energy, he then ventured to Oa to drain its power. With Oa drained, he became the villain Parallax. As Parallax, Hal aligned himself with Extant and began to create a new universe. Of course, he was eventually stopped, but that's not the point. And I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button. Glad you guys came out. I hope you'll come back, and until then, I'll catch you next time.